Welcome to the Cosmic Busker. My name is Bobby Cody. Miracle healing and disease prevention. Wim Hof Method, Kundalini, Joe Dispenza, and Mind Heart Coherence. I've been meaning to do this video for a few days now. Finally, what happened was I literally just awakened from a nap. I may look a little bit like I did just wake from a nap, and that's because I did. And I actually had a lucid dream about an old friend of mine. I'll just use his first name, Andrew. And in a lucid dream, we were talking about these methods. I woke up and I said, all right, I've been putting off doing this video for several days. Now's the time. So I just woke up from that dream. I threw a little water on my face, which is why I'm a little wet here. And boom, hit record, and I'm going to do this video right now. For the past 2 months, I have been doing these methods, all of them for the past month, most of them for the past 2 months. I'm going to talk about them and what they've done for me, and some of what they've done for other people, and what they can do for you too. They literally is miracle healing, scientifically backed as well. I'm going to put a whole bunch of links down below in the description so you can look at the scientific research that's been done on these things, as well as some people's testimony as well, people who have had healing. And I'll go through some of the healing that I've personally had and that others have had as well as we go through this video. So first I'm going to talk about the Wim Hof Method. For those of you who are not aware, I've been homeless for 4 years. And during those 4 years, most of it, not all of it, but most of that time I've been sleeping outside, including 2 full winters. It gets very, very cold in the winters here in New Jersey, including 2 years ago, and I sleep outside. Make no mistake about it. 2 years ago, it was 9 degrees Fahrenheit. For those of you in Europe, I think that would be like -10 or -15 Celsius for 3 nights straight. And I was sleeping outside with no shelter whatsoever. So as part of that, one thing I started doing last year in this regard was the Wim Hof Method. Wim Hof has, last I saw, he has 26 separate world records. And most of those world records are for cold exposure. He has the longest time in an ice, submersing himself in ice up to the neck. I think it's like 2 hours he stayed in ice. He's led people up Mount Kilimanjaro, which it's cold and snowy, in his shorts. So in freezing snow, in his shorts, he ascended a mountain. There's various world records this guy has. And the way he does it is it's called the Wim Hof Method. With this Wim Hof Method, it's a set of breathing, cold exposure, and it requires commitment and a little bit of meditation. With it, it enables you to withstand cold without appropriate clothing or appropriate warming. It's quite amazing. I want to talk about it and what I've been doing with it as well. First, let me explain the Wim Hof Method, then I'll tell you what it did for me and some of my past history with it. Wim Hof Method is essentially, it's a breathing method where he hyperventilates. I'm going to go through it. I'm not going to do the whole set, but essentially it's as deep as you can. You take it in as deep as you can, and a very shallow out breath, deep as you can. You're essentially a forced hyperventilation. You do that for a set of about 30 or 40 times. On the last one, take it in real deep. And then the 30th or 40th one, depending on how you do, you take it real deep. Exhale and hold. The first time you do it, you want to try to, and you count. You can use a timer, you can count yourself. I just count on my own. You want to hold till about 90 seconds the first time or two that you do it. Eventually, you'll find that you can do it longer and longer. I've gotten up to 3 minutes I can hold my breath for at times. It's always about 2 minutes at least. It's usually somewhere between 2 or 3 minutes that I do it. You do 4 sets of these, 3 or 4. After that, I immediately, boom, shower time. I go into shower, it's cold shower. Now with the cold shower, he suggests, do 15 to 30 seconds the first time of cold, and then you can turn the hot water on, and then increase it. For me, once I really started doing this intensively, which is the past couple months, I went right for 90 seconds. I started off with 90 seconds, and now I'm up to 2 minutes. So right after doing the breathing, I go to the shower, jump in the shower for 2 straight minutes, just to cold water, as cold as I can get it. And then after the 2 minutes, I turn the hot water on. This is my method. You can use your own little method and change it up, but try to essentially go by the program. After 2 minutes, I turn the hot water on. I do the regular shower, and then once I'm done showering and I still have all the suds on me, I turn it back down to cold again, and I rinse off with the exceedingly cold water. That's my little method. Again, I just sketched it out. I'm going to have down below a link so that you can learn about the method fully. Now, the reason, and really, the really important part about this is commitment. Do it every day. Make sure you do it. Now, scientists have tested this. Initially, they thought it was some genetic thing. They actually tested Wim Hof. They shot him up with what are called endotoxins. They were scientists. They wanted to investigate why. He's got 26 world records, and he acquired all these world records from this method that he developed. It's a method he developed through yoga, advanced yoga practice. He essentially stripped all these yoga practices of all their spiritual mumbo jumbo and developed this method by stripping out all that spiritual mumbo jumbo that comes with the yoga. So, the scientists thought it was genetic. They put endotoxins in them. These endotoxins get everybody sick. They've done it. My understanding is they've injected these endotoxins in people 16,000 times. 16,000 times, people get sick. And because endotoxins, which means they're dead bacteria, the people don't get sick fully for a long time. It's about 4 or 5 hours they show symptoms of flu-like symptoms before the body realizes that these are dead bacteria and it stops trying to fight it off. But it works every time. 16,000 times they've injected it. 16,000 times the people have gotten sick. They injected Wim Hof before, with him not doing his method. He got sick, and he said, "Okay, now I'll do the method. I'll prime myself with my method. You guys inject me. You'll see I won't get sick." Sure enough, they inject him. He doesn't get sick. So the scientists are saying this must be some genetic thing. He said, "No, this is my method that I developed." He said, "You give me 20 people, I'll teach them my method. You inject them, they won't get sick either." So I said, "Okay, let's do it." It took about a week or two, I believe. I think it was actually 1 week with Wim Hof, then 1 week by themselves practicing the method. So 2 weeks of doing the method. They came back, the scientists inject all these 20 volunteers with the endotoxin. None of them got sick. And that's after 16,000 straight times of everybody getting sick. So this is significant. This is scientifically valid information. What happens is several things that happens with the Wim Hof method by doing this method. It alkalines your blood in your body. cancers and disease, my understanding is that cancers and diseases are not able to exist in an alkaline environment. They need an acidic environment. So by doing this method, you're alkalining your blood and you are making your body an inhospitable environment for cancers and diseases. What they've also found is that it essentially turns on certain parts of the brain as well, which I'm not going to get into. It'll be in the links in the description below. You can find this out yourself. It also does something, I believe, where it essentially merges the sympathetic and parasympathetic immune systems. It essentially boosts your immune system. It gives you superhuman immunity. I highly suggest everybody do this. You may want to check with your doctor if you have some type of weakness that you're not sure of. If you're older, you might want to check with your doctor, but my understanding is that there should be no reason why anybody should not be able to do this method. So my own personal experience with it, it has healed me. I had a 20-year condition. I won't go into the details on what that condition was, but some people will be able to figure out by my description. It's a 20-year condition, included swelling, regular blood, some small amount of blood that would come out. It was always a bit uncomfortable. Every so often it would flare up to make it uncomfortable to walk. 20 years I've had this condition. I've been doing the Wim Hof method, the whole method intensely for the past 2 months. After the first week, my condition was gone. So after 20 years of having this condition, 1 week doing the Wim Hof method intensely, I'm cured. Very significant. Again, we have scientific evidence and my own personal experience as well. You go to Wim Hof's YouTube channel, you will see testimony after testimony after testimony. I haven't looked at all the testimonies, but I've seen one guy claim to be cured from an autoimmune disorder. Another woman who had multiple sclerosis. I don't think it cured her, but it got rid of all her symptoms of multiple sclerosis. She didn't specifically say it cured her, but she said it did get rid of all her symptoms. There's a whole bunch of testimonials. Well, it works, including, like I stated, scientific. So this works. Now, as I stated, I have been homeless for 4 years. So I had been doing the Wim Hof method partially. I couldn't fully expose. I didn't understand. I thought you had to have cold water exposure as well. So I didn't fully do the Wim Hof method last year when I was sleeping outside in the cold weather. I did partially, and it did help significantly. Very, very significantly. It helped me get through that winter. So you have that as well. So now what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to pause this and get some water because I'm running out of I'm a little dry mouth, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to talk about some meditation that'll also assist. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. So next, there's essentially 4 methods. That's the first one, Wim Hof method that I've been using. Next, what I've been doing is Kundalini Yoga. I haven't been going through the whole process of Kundalini Yoga. I'm essentially merging 4 different methods, and Kundalini is one of them. Essentially, I told you about the Wim Hof method. I do that every morning. So it's the Wim Hof method every morning. And then usually after that, I will do the Kundalini Yoga. I'm going to provide a link down below to the meditation that I use. It's from, I think, I forget her name of her YouTube channel. I think it's something of Venus, Lights of Venus YouTube channel. I will provide a link to the meditation that I use down below. I have actually studied Kundalini on my own for decades. Never ever practiced it regularly in any way, shape, or form until these past 2 months. But because I had studied, I had a little bit of experience of what it is and what it does. And so I was familiar with what's called the full lotus position. I would suggest you do, if you're able to and you're limber enough, to do the full lotus um, position. I'm going to put up a little picture up there of the full lotus so you can understand. I also, matter of fact, I recorded about a 2 minute uh, video on my own where I exemplify the full lotus position. I'm going to throw that at the end of this video. So if you want to see that, you can go to the last 2 minutes of this video and it'll have me showing me doing the full lotus position. It's essentially where you pull your heels, your feet up into your hip as close as you can on both sides. But you can see that at the end. So with this Kundalini, what it does is you essentially have, in Kundalini and yoga they're known as chakras, but you have to realize there's a science to it too, because with Western medicine these are endocrine systems that we have. So it's essentially a merging of the yoga, spiritual, and the Western science. It's a merging of the two. So you know, you can call it chakras, you can call it endocrine systems. Regardless, it's the same thing. I will call them chakras for our purposes. And you have chakra points. There's different points along your body. I'm going to put up right here a depiction so you can see the location of the chakras and what people have associated the colors with it. In the original Sanskrit yoga, they don't have the colors with it. This has been emerging in a process where they have developed this system of colors that are associated with these chakras. Essentially, it is down below near your with your perineum, your private parts, is the red chakra. I don't remember all the proper names. I know that one's called the Muladhara chakra. I'm not going to go by their proper Sanskrit names. I'm just going to call them by their colors. So you have the red chakra or the Muladhara chakra down by your privates. Next, you have at your belly. You have that's the Sacral Chakra. That's the proper name again too. That's right around your belly button. That's an orange one. Then right at your solar plexus, right essentially in the middle, right below your chest, right in the middle of your chest there. I'll put it right about there. Is the I forget the name of it, but that's the yellow chakra. Okay. Then we have in the chest here is the green chakra. And up here we have the blue chakra, the throat chakra. These are the higher chakras we're getting into. Then you have the purple one, which is where the third eye is. Your third eye is a real thing. It's also called, it's up here, I think it's the pineal or the pituitary. I mixed them up. Finally, you have the crown chakra, which is right at the top of your head, right here. Those are the energy centers that you're going to meditate on in the Kundalini Yoga. And it'll take you through the process of focusing on each one of these energy centers. So I've been doing it because I've been studying Kundalini for decades. I was familiar with the full lotus. I just started right in with the full lotus and doing it. And the first 2 or 3 times, maybe even more, maybe the first 5 or 6 times that I was doing it, do for just under an hour, about an hour. And after I was done, I would uncurl my legs. All of a sudden, I'd be shaking, like I was freezing. I'm like, what's going on? And after it happened the first 2 times, I'm like, what's going on? I got to find this out. So I did a little research, and it said that that's normal. That's essentially, you're taking your energy systems and you're balancing them out. And in balancing out those energy systems, you're going to get some cold shivers like that potentially, and some other side effects. So I was like, oh, okay, this is normal. I thought this was a little weird, kind of freaked me out. And it did go away. I've been doing this meditation for about 2 months now, and it no longer happens. It only happened for about the first week for me. So my energy centers are balanced. Now, what I did was I've been merging this Kundalini with what's called the Joe Dispenza method. I should say, excuse me, Dr. Joe Dispenza. Dr. Joe Dispenza, he's got his own YouTube channel as well. All this is going to be down in the description down below. All these links, so you can take a look at his YouTube channel and some descriptions and interviews that he's done. Joe Dispenza's method is essentially a method whereby you do meditation, and then through the meditation, you're essentially tightening up your perineum at the bottom, your private parts, the parts that you use for elimination. You're tightening them up, and at the same time, you're imagine sucking up. And he says there's a tube that goes through the central axis of your body. That's a real thing, he says in the meditation. And what you're doing is, in the tightening up, and you're going to tighten up as you inhale. You're going to, and you imagine this energy being sucked up. First you tighten up your perineum, then you tighten up your belly, then your abdomen, and you're forcing and sucking that energy flow up to the top of your head. What this is doing is the spinal fluid. It's essentially taking that spinal fluid up and forcing it up by doing this process, and you will feel it. You will feel it hitting on the bottom of your skull. I think is the pituitary gland. I think that is. It's either pituitary or pineal it's hitting. As I said, I mixed these two up at this point. And in hitting them, you will feel it, and it will start to give you an ecstatic experience. It's very pleasant, relatively speaking. It can be a little frightening too, because it can be very, very powerful. I have heard, now what I did was I took his method and I essentially merged it with the Kundalini. So I do his meditation, listen to his personal meditations as well. I'll link to those down below so you can follow them. But I incorporate that method also as I'm doing the Lights of Venus Kundalini meditation. So as I'm doing her meditation, I'm incorporating Dr. Joe Dispenza's method as well. So I'm merging these two methods essentially. Now, in my research on this, prior to doing this, I had heard about your chakras popping, and I heard that was, some people said that, that's probably, he does these workshops and all these people, oh, my chakra popped and all this stuff, and other people say that's probably just, what's they call it, suggestion. People hear that other people are having their chakra pop, so they have to have their chakra pop, and I figured, that's probably what it is. So it was probably, I've been doing the meditation for about 2 or 3 weeks, I think it was, and I was under the impression that it was just suggestion that your chakra pop, and all of a sudden I'm doing the meditation, and pop, literally right at the base of my skull. It was kind of like a crack in your knuckles almost, it felt like, but much more powerful, much more strong at the base of your skull. And literally it was kind of like, I get big O's, powerful O's, so I'll just leave it at that. But it was like that. I was like, I was shaking like that. I popped my chakra, no question about that. Along those lines as well, I just want to mention that I've been listening to gurus as well and seeing what gurus have to say about meditation, and part of that is chastity. I've been chaste during these periods as well, and that's because the sexual energy is a creative energy. I've been hanging out with musicians in New York for I hung out with musicians for about a decade or so, and a couple of them I've known the secret for decades, and I let a couple of them know the secret. This is something I've known for a long time, and I'll let you in on it too. It's that the sexual energy is a creative energy, and that if you're gonna do any type of artistic work or creative work, or even with sports, this works with sports as well. Um, Abstaining from sexual activity will assist in your endeavors, whether it's artistic or sports or what have you, and with meditation as well, because these are all creative energies, and sexuality is creative energy, and by engaging in the sexual act, you are releasing these creative energies and expelling them, and you want to keep them inside of you, um, so that you can uh, release these sexual energies into your work or your art or your meditation, what have you. So that's what I've been doing. I just want to throw that out there as well. Um, Finally, the final one is Mind Heart Coherence. Joe Dispenza talks about how this whole method will bring about what's called Mind Heart Coherence, and this is something that has been validated. My understanding has been validated by science as well. Mind Heart Coherence. The method I've been using is essentially I just put my hand on my heart, spend a lot of time focusing on my heart. So it's my brain focusing on my heart, and just um, you know focusing on gratitude and love. I do have a lot to be uh, uh, thankful for. There's no question I'm a lucky man. Um, the good Lord blessed me. 51 years old, I have perfect eyesight, never needed glasses, perfect teeth, perfect health. Um, so, and regardless though, you find something, you're alive and you're kicking, and you should be grateful for that. But what Joe Dispenza says is that you want to produce, even if you find it difficult, life's hard for you, you know, you want to first feel. The important thing is to feel the outcome that you want. So even if you're depressed and things that you have to work your way through in feeling what how you want to feel, and feeling the feeling of the outcome that you want. And it's that merging of the feeling and the thought essentially that helps you achieve the desired outcome that you want. And he talks many miracles. He's had people who were legally blind, who he talks about, then all of a sudden they're doing his method, which includes the Mind Heart Coherence, and all of a sudden they get, it's like crackling in their skull, and they're healed. They're no longer legally blind in their eye. Okay, there's a whole bunch of other testimonials as well on his website, Dr. Joe Dispenza. I highly suggest you take a look at that as well. But the Mind Heart Coherence, to get back to that, essentially what you're doing is you're getting by doing that. I do it for about 90 seconds. Just focus on love and gratitude, and I do that I focus on love and gratitude, and while I'm focusing on my heart, and that's essentially you're getting your brain to focus on your heart and focus on love and gratitude. That's getting them to both focus in the same way, because what they found is that the heart has a mind of its own. It has neurons. Your brain has neurons that think. Well, guess what? Your heart has neurons as well. And what you want is these two to be working coherently. That's why it's Mind Heart Coherence. Once you start doing that, miracles can occur. And so I do it that way, by just holding on to it and focusing on love and gratitude. I'm going to give some links down below again about Mind Heart Coherence, so you can do the research yourself as well. So let's see. I think there's a little bit more I wanted to talk about in this regard. Yes, actually, I wanted to, now I do these videos extemporaneously. Throughout this, I've been doing it for 2 months, and throughout this 2 months, I've done a lot of research as well, extensive research. When I wasn't doing the meditations, chances are I was doing research on these methods and the meditations and etc. So I want to talk about some of the other benefits aside from healing and disease prevention. Um, what I've also found out in the scientific literature is that these methods also produce human growth hormone, which is essential to keeping your body young and working well. I also found evidence that it lengthens your telomeres, and that's very important. I want to talk about that. Telomeres are the tips of your DNA. On the tips of your DNA, you have these things called telomeres. And you were born with telomeres, and how long these telomeres are is how long your life is going to be. Once these telomeres run out, you die of old age. It's the end. So the process of doing these methods also has been scientifically shown based on my research to lengthen your telomeres. So it's going to lengthen your life as well. Um, Highly suggest that all who are able to do this do it. I think that you will not regret it in any way, shape, or form, and you'll be thankful that you came across this video and these methods. So that's it. Like I stated, all these links are down below. I'm gonna have one set, matter of fact, one of these sets is gonna have all the meditations as well, so that you can go to these meditations and they'll have them in order. Um, I'll have Wim Hof's guided method, then I'll have the Kundalini, then I'll have the Joe Dispenza meditations all in a row. So you can go 1, 2, 3, boom. Bookmark them, do whatever however you want to do it. Because that's the essential order that I do them, and that's the way that I found it's best to do them. But, do as you see fit. Other than that, this video is going to end with the 2 minutes explanation of me doing the Lotus method. So stick around if you want to see how to do the full Lotus. Other than that, everybody like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. Thanks for watching. I'm probably going to do another video in a short while. I have a few other things I want to share with you. Everybody, thanks for watching. Appreciate it. All right, let's show you the full Lotus real quick. What I do is I usually start with my right foot. You want to switch it up to get the muscles fully limber. I tend to do it mostly with my right. I start with my right though. You want to stick your right heel as close to your hip as you can get. Lay it there. Then you take your left heel, put it into your right hip. Boom, like that. Okay? And then we come out with our hands like this. And now we're in the full Lotus position. You also want to switch it up, as I stated. Start with your left, put it with your hip, and take the right like that. Hands go on the knees, arms on the thighs. And that's the full Lotus. If you can't do the full Lotus, it's okay. You can cross your legs. You can also do what's called the half Lotus. I think that's just where you take one foot in and put it at the thigh and just leave the other down. And then you can switch that up, keep one down, and just put one up. So that would be the half Lotus. If you can't do the full Lotus, just do the half Lotus. If you can't do either, it's okay. Just cross the legs and do it. Either way is fine. With the full lotus, what happens is, my understanding of the full lotus is that by doing that, it's hitting various acupuncture points as well, which is why it is really the most efficient way to go about these meditations.